Oh, I'm out here. It's Wednesday. Temperature's starting to pick up, wind's picking up. I've been out here working a couple hours, and I didn't get anything filmed because at the same time I was out here working, I was also on hold with PayPal for 2.5 hours before I finally hung up because I need to get some videoed. So anyway, let me show you where I'm at. Been working on this, touched up a couple spots. I put the corners in, got those ground flat, got them the curve made, and I also went over it and sanded in here. So I need to get this blown out, wiped out, made sure that there's nothing I missed, and then I'm going to tape it off and etch prime the window frame. And then other than, I'll still need to kind of mess with the angle of the flange, which hopefully doesn't damage any of this. That'll be considered done. We'll move on to back. This is making me very, very nervous. So if the windshield out of 61, obviously it still needs to be cleaned up. Just looking at its fit, I almost pretty much could have gotten away without doing any of this work because it sits on the edge of the lip, but we're talking maybe 1/8 of an inch, and these sides really wasn't. But it sits here in the gap. I'm actually pretty much okay with, except here in the middle, there's a pretty good sized gap there. I don't know if it shows up on camera very well. Can't really see it too well, I guess. It's a pretty good gap there. Not really sure why, but maybe if I knock this edge in, the two top edges in, maybe it'll let it lay flat. Plus, once you bring the bottom up a little bit, I think it's going to change it. The wind's got me nervous. I'm afraid it's going to blow it out and break it. But, yeah. Gotta do a little bit of straightening out over there, but I'm happy with it. Once the inside's all ground and sanded, it can be painted, but right now I just want to get some on the outside where it's bare metal, and then I got to work on the rear. So I think I'm gonna jump over and do that. I need to get this windshield back out and get started on that. All right, here we are. Now all this is going to get covered up by the glass and the molding, so we're not doing any kind of filler work. If I was, I'd be doing it with the welder and the grinder, because I do not want any Bondo in there where the water is to rust things out. This is a little different because the glass is going to be sitting out here, far away from the original. And hopefully the molding I've got will cover up this gap. If not, I don't know. I still don't want to put any filler in here. I'll definitely be filling this with urethane, but I don't know about anything else. So we're going to continue to fill, or to grind this, picking up metal shavings as we go because I'm saving them. Okay. You might be wondering why I'm saving them. Well, one, for modeling, but two, because I'm going to be putting the other trunk lid on this thing, and my buddy's got it out there to blast it right now. I figure if I sprayed the color and put a bunch of those shavings in with it, or spray the cover, let it sit, and then hit it with some Scotch-Brite, kind of in strokes like you see on this, and then sprinkle some of those shavings on there and spray it down with water, maybe salt water, maybe vinegar water, and just let that rust kind of soak into the paint. It might match this. Of course, I don't know. I hope. I'm gonna have to do the same thing when I cut the quarters, but that will probably come after I drive it a while. Right now I need to finish that. Once that's done and in etch primer, I need to get those seatbelt things welded. And then I need to grind a little bit on those welds. And then I think we can move into box 3. One thing I did notice up here is that wiper motor is going to hit the dashboard. I don't want to test fit the dashboard and risk scratching it up, but I'm probably going to. The alternative is I cut that one up and use it to mock up. But that one's slightly different too. So I'm probably just going to try to mock it up. But from the look of it, I'm going to have to notch this down here somehow, which is fine. But the bigger problem is I've got the Bluetooth put in here and I've got that piece of metal to support it. All that's going to have to go away because the wiper motor is there now. And I can move it somewhere over here. I can probably put it in with the Honda parts. It doesn't matter where I put it, but it's going to have to move from there. Okay, I'm calling it. First paint, yay. Like real paint anyway. I don't really count the black spray paint up front yet. All right, I need to clean this mess out real quick. Put away the tools. I got all that stuff finished out. I got that done. I got that done. I had to spend a bunch of time working on the weed whacker so Luke could mow. Anyway, so that's it for tonight. Tomorrow's supposed to be like 90, almost 100 degrees, like 97 degrees. But I'll be out here anyway, so see you then. Hello, people. So, no video this week. I've only got 10 minutes of footage. And I didn't really want to put one out that was that short. I mean, if I can't put it out, it's at least 15 minutes long, then I'm not going to do it. So, I got a bunch of work done on Wednesday. I didn't do anything on Tuesday. And the work I did Wednesday was, the grinding of the window openings. So, bent over, holding my body in a position for a long time like that, without any support from my upper body, just completely obliterated my back and knees. I've got a slip disc, I've got a bulging disc, and I've got a ruptured disc in my back. And one of the three, or a combination there above, is the problem. And here it is, Saturday, I'm at work, and I'm still barely able to walk across the store. So, yeah, Thursday didn't happen. I basically sat in my recliner all day and did nothing. So, next week, it's supposed to actually rain for the next 10 days. So, I may not get much done this next week either. However, there is a video that I want to put out, kind of a body swap 101, all the things that I've learned doing this and from researching and watching other people's videos. So I want to kind of sit down and discuss the pitfalls you might run into if you're considering doing it. But if you guys want to sit tight until next week, I'll have something out for you. Sorry. All right, it's supposed to start raining here pretty soon. You got some pretty nasty clouds up to the north there, but it's still looking pretty nice down here. I figure we got at least an hour. This one's been forming over the last 20 minutes or so. So I had to test fit the dashboard, and it's making me really nervous because I don't want to scratch it up. You see all the orange peel. There's two reasons for that. One, using those aerosol sprayers when it's 40 degrees doesn't work very well. Two, I put texture into it, hoping to lower the glare, having the sun shine on this thing back in your face. But the angle that it sits at, it probably wouldn't do that anyway. And the texture I put into it laid down, and it ended up just looking like orange peel. So it's a lot worse up on top. But I don't give a shit. I'm going to leave it and live with it. So, case in point, I put the wiper motor in, and I didn't pay enough attention to where the motor was. I thought it would clear, and even if I had to trim it some, I didn't figure I'd have to trim it very much. That's fine. The bigger problem was I had the Bluetooth controller right here, and that was right in the way, so that has to go. I'll put it over here somewhere, probably in the cubby hole. Doesn't matter, it can get moved, no big deal. No big whoop, as they say. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this notch out here and see where that leaves me. All right, just kind of a quick preview here about how this is gonna look. It looks amazing. I love it. This steering wheel is gonna get covered with one of those old school, you know, wraps. Some people hate them, some people love them. I love them. It's already kind of thick though, so I may even peel off this vinyl and just wrap the bare metal. So far though, I'm a little disappointed with these guys here. They're very flimsy. I mean, I guess what do you expect for 20 bucks, but still. We'll see how they work in situ, but I did discover a disturbing thing. So if you look in the back here, I don't know how well you can see it. Over here where the hose goes for that vent, it's pointing right up into the cowl. So I don't know if a hose will fit. I may have to put a 90 on there. I may have to dimple the cowl, which won't hurt it in that corner. We'll see. We will see. Because the only way the water is even going to get into that corner is if I park this thing on a hell of a hill. And it's got that big ass hose for a drain there. Or if it fills up, plugs up with something, you know, maybe. But I think I could probably hit it with the ball peen a little bit and make a spot. All right, so this needs to get put back in the back seat of the Jeep where it's safe, so it doesn't get scratched up. I got another project I'm working on. I've spoken about these fender bolts before. They're not normal. And they go into these kind of speed nut looking deals. And those speed nut deals are tempered metal, spring steel. These ones are intact and they all still work and they work well. Those ones, as you can see, are all broken off. I don't know why. So the fix is this. So I drill these out and I weld a nut to it. I got flange nuts, I weld them on there upside down, or with the flange to the metal. Flip them over, cut them out, and weld them over these holes, which I'm gonna have to do a little hammer and dolly work because this is, pulled up a bit. And then they just get welded over the top of this. I don't think having them on top is going to affect the fender alignment, as it had this kind of thick gasket on there anyway. I don't plan on reusing that. I think it'll be okay. But you're just gonna weld them on there with the nut down in the hole, and that'll be what holds the fender in. And this metal's a little thicker. This is the back seat brace. So it's a bit thicker than the rest of the car, and I got this one chunk of Valiant metal here, which is about the same gauge. So once I get them all drilled, then I will mark them with the cutoff wheel. I'll just, kind of go through and just kind of make the cut, but not very deep. And then I'll go through and strip all the stuff down. I got to get all this undercoating off of this piece. Get them stripped down to bare metal and then finish the cuts. And then weld the nuts. Probably weld the nuts to it before I cut. And then install them. See how that goes. Be back in a bit. Alrighty, I still need to kind of scuff all this and get some etch primer on it. But for now, I'm just going to test fit this. It's all going to come back off anyway before I do the head gasket have my buddy do the head gasket. It'll be easier for him to get to stuff, I think, with the fenders off. I need to go find my little 6mm bolts for here. So yeah, this has been converted to 8mm. Although a 1/2-inch wrench still fits it, but yeah, 13mm, which is kind of, I'm less enthusiastic about that because 13s aren't really used too much on cars. 12s are, but my goal of trying to convert as much of this thing to metric as possible, that way everything's all the same toolkit, you know, one piece at a time. So I'm gonna go find my little hardware, and first I'm going to shim this up. Oops. I'm going to shim this up. Oh, I lost my bolt. Probably earlier when I was pounding on that. All right, let me go find my bolts. Okay, here we are. Got the front clip back on for measurement. And I put the Cricut hinges on, and I think they're gonna work. You can see it's sitting up kind of high here, which frankly I could actually live with if I had to. And they're not bolted onto the hood all the way yet, but if you look right there, you see that little dent. That's where the back of the hinge is hitting. Whew, it's really hard to do one-handed. So I can actually dimple that, not by very much, 1/4 inch maybe. And then I think the hood will sit where I want it to. Then I just need to come up with something to attach it to this way and then make some way to adjust it. That side's worse than this side, but yeah, I think that's gonna work. The other thing is, there's no way to put this hood latch in here and have it clear the thing that you can't see. Hold on. There's no way to have it clear the core support here. As you can see, there's that part of the latch and it's up against it, which you can't hardly see either. There it is. It's up against it. So that's coming off. The safety is, I can't tell if it's up against it or if it's up against the core support. I don't think it's, yeah. The safety's gonna work because it's not touching the core support. But I'll have to come up with something for an actual latch. I don't know what yet. I think I need to trim this. I don't know if it's gonna hit the grill or not. Even so, it's hitting this, so I mean, I might just be able to trim this. Oh, we'll see how much space I have. So tomorrow's supposed to rain like hell. As you can see, it's already clouded all up here. And you can see that was dinging up like my condenser in the corner, so I shaved off the corners there. But damn, that thing is getting kind of dinged up real easy, and I swear I haven't even touched it. But as you can see, maybe I'll put the damn cardboard back on it. Anyway, yeah, so everything's actually looking pretty good. I think this is going to need to be adjusted. I might need to cut where I welded that inner fender part in and move it up a little because it's too far down on this side. As you can see, the hood here and the hood here sticking up. Yeah, I can do that because I don't want to shim all the bolts and everything. This, just shimming the top of that was a pain in the butt, but I don't think it ever needs to come apart again. So I think we're okay. Yeah, so tomorrow I don't think I'm going to get much done. I'll go ahead and leave the dashboard in this thing until next week. And then get it out where it's going to be, put it somewhere where it's going to be safe. Probably back in the back seat of the Jeep. I'm going to need to figure out something for bumper brackets on this thing, but I don't need to figure that out right now. What is that? Training fluid. Ooh, I need to get all that caca out of there. What is that? Is that a damn mouse nest? Get out of my car. Don't know. Anyway, that's it for the night. I'm gonna get my mess cleaned up here and get all this put away, and figure something else out. Hopefully tomorrow I can get done with something. I'm probably going to end up working on the house tomorrow because it'll be raining too much to do anything here. You know what? That actually, yeah, that can actually come down, and then I don't need to worry about it hitting that. This side, that side can come down too. Huh. There might be those lines that are pushing it up on that side anyway. Still don't see any leaks on my AC lines. They still look like crap. But yeah, mosquitoes are starting to attack and they don't die. So I'm going to go in. See you guys next time. So I don't remember if I actually filmed any of this or not. These are Cricket hinges. Spares. I don't like giving up my spares, but those ones are off a high mileage car, so they might be slightly worn. As you can see, I'm going to need to drill the front bolt holes and put nut certs in them. That's okay. But the nice thing is that just about clears. I've had to expand my dimple a little. Those are gonna work. I'm pretty sure those are gonna work. I went over and cut this off of the wagon, what was left of it. As you can see, it's pretty rotten. Obviously gonna have to be trimmed, but I think this can be welded in place down there and the hinges bolted on, and then I will have hinges. Unfortunately, that hood latch is not going to work, so I'll have to come up with a latch, but for now, yeah, back to work. Storm is a-coming. All right, it's Thursday evening. It is just starting to sprinkle out there. We got thunder and lightning again. Nader weather. So I actually had a really productive day today. Those Cricket hinges, they're going to work. I'm 85% positive they're going to work. I got the one side bolted on, and with everything real loose because I don't have short enough bolts. It's working. It needs a little fine tuning. One problem with it is the corners hitting. And in looking at the way the hinges are on the Cricket hood versus the way they're on the Rambler hood, the hinges are farther forward on the Rambler hood, so that's going to give us more of an overhang in the back. Hopefully I can adjust some of it out. The bolt holes are elongated up and down, and then front to back on the hinge. I'm just going to open them up, make them a round circle, and hopefully they'll give me, with a big flat washer, will give me a little more adjustment. And then I'll weld the other side on roughly where this one is, or exactly where this one is, and then go from there. Yeah, it's going to work, and then I'll have to come up with a hood latch. And then I also got the gas tank back in the 62 Savoy. It's going down the road. I've actually got it traded for a Geo tracker, And I know some people might laugh or might be like, what the hell are you thinking? The Savoy is rotten. I mean, it is really rusty. The chassis is solid, but the body, I mean, both front fenders are gone. The hood's got rust holes in it. All 4 doors have rust holes in it, and it's a 4-door, so nobody wants to respect them. Both quarters are gone. The trunk floor is history. And the trunk lid, I'm going to have to strap down because it'll probably blow off. Where the hinges bolt on is just gone. There's no metal there. I can't think of any good body part on this car. Both bumpers are rough. I mean, the back bumper's usable, but it's rough. The front bumper's pretty twisted. The lower valance is crushed. Both front turn signals are broke. The floorboards are gone. The seats are tore up. The dashboard's decent. The pad's not great, but meh. Gauge cluster's nice. I mean, and then it doesn't run very well. It's got a blown head gasket between 1 and 2. And I told the guy about all this, and he's okay with it. He told me that the tracker, you know, the soft tops are gone, they're rotten. It's a toy, you know, so it's been exposed. The floors are probably gone in it, although he doesn't know. He says it's got a bad hub. And hopefully that means locking hub or wheel hub bearing. I don't know. I'll have to ask him some more details. I don't know if it's a stick or automatic. I don't care. He says it runs and drives, so that's a good starting point for me. I can gather pieces. And the reason why is because the Jeep, as cool as it is, and it's got all the amenities, all the stuff I need, just like this car's going to have. But it's 2-wheel drive. So if I've got this car for a daily driver, for the comfort things, I don't need the Jeep. What I do need the Jeep for is winter. Well, it's 2-wheel drive. So it doesn't help me there. And frankly, it just sucks in the snow and the ice. The little Mazda out here does twice as good as that Jeep does. The hope is to get this tracker going and use it for winter daily driver and get decent mileage. Well, the Jeep gets 16. I'm guessing the tracker will get 25, maybe. As far as the tops go, I mean, I could buy new tops. The frames are there, but I've never been a fan of convertibles. So what I'll probably do is I'll make a hard top for the cab. I've got the Civic roof. I've got the Volvo roof. I've got, well, the Rambler roof I'm saving for this in case I need it, but I can do that. I mean, hell, I can build a roof and make it look right and then screw it down. That way I can always take it back off later or weld it in place. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm counting my chickens before they hatch. As far as the back top would be, I would actually get a top for it or hopefully find a fiberglass top, although I think they're really expensive. These things, I've been watching them for a while. They're like the Cherokees. They are ridiculously, stupidly expensive. So you can get something that's just absolute junk for $1,500. You know, something that's totally blown up for, you know, $600-800. I remember back in the day, we had one that we towed in that was burnt, rolled, wrecked, and had a blown head gasket, or, you know, the engine was basically blown up. It still sold for $3,000. And this is back in like 2001 or 2. So the engines had that much value on them. I towed one in that the guy had behind his motorhome, and he left it in second gear. Blew all 4 rods. It had 30,000 miles in it. The only engine we could find was $2,600 used, and it had 110,000 miles on it. So his 30,000 mile rig now has a 120,000 mile engine in it. The Harley that was riding behind him almost went down when that engine came apart. So anyway, that's it for this week and last week. You guys get both weeks together. Yay. I'm probably going to start putting out a few more shorts in between. That way, if I run into something where I don't have enough video, at least I've got the shorts and you guys kind of see what's going on. And the shorts get a lot of views, so, you know, I'm still inching my way closer to being monetized. And, you know, the day I get monetized enough to where I'm making at least as much as I'm making now, I'll be doing this full time. At least as much as I can, you know, but I can do a little bit every day. And then, you know, actually buy projects for stuff. I was even thinking about doing a Patreon or something like that, and just, you know, being able to go out, buy a project, fix it up, and sell it. all in the channel, you guys could see it and everything. So I don't know. Something to think about. I've never been one to have my hand out, you know, begging for help or anything. So I don't know. But again, this is it for this week. I'm gonna go ahead and shut everything down and go inside before I get wet. And next week when I go down to pick up that car, you guys will be with me. So I'll talk to you then.